Both our spouses have been diagnosed as having dementia, and my wife was in a care home, and Nula's husband also came to the same care home a little bit later, and they had rooms almost next to each other. And in fact, Nula knew my wife Bonnie, and I didn't even know she did. And inevitably, after a certain amount of time, we began to meet, we began to see each other. And then the care home organised a lunch for people whose spouses had dementia, as opposed to people whose parents or grandparents had it, because when your spouse gets it, it's altogether different. And at this lunch, Nula and I found ourselves talking to each other, and obviously we had very similar experiences. We shared so much, and then we emailed each other for quite a while after that, and then I suggested a dinner, and we just got to know each other a little bit better. And with someone with dementia, you cannot talk to them about what's happening to them. And so we both found that when we were together, we just never stopped talking and sharing the experiences, and we just became closer through dementia. It brought us closer together because of our shared experiences. I think for me this is the worst part about it as a carer, and I hate using that word because I was a husband, Nula was a wife. The worst thing is you cannot talk about it with the person who's got it. Till the day I lost her, Bon never knew she had dementia, Alzheimer's. She never used the words. So you're bottled up. It's all bottled up inside you. There's no one to talk to about it, and you can't talk to the person with it. If your loved one has cancer, and I'm not in any way trying to make light of that, but by and large they remain compos mentis until the day they die, and you can talk about it with them. You can go through a bucket list. You can say, right, we're going to do all those things that we've always wanted to do. You can hug them, you can talk to them. It's painful, but you can talk. With dementia, you cannot talk about it. So that to me was the most painful thing.
Yeah, and you've got this person who you loved and who's been with you for years and years and years, and suddenly they're an inanimate object. They just go off and do their own thing, and they're not with you, mentally or physically. They're gone, and you're left trying to hold on to this person that isn't the person anymore, and that's the hard bit. I'd say you've got to have a life outside that caring. You know, you've got to be able to get away for an hour, 2 hours while your loved one is with you, and once they go into care, you've got to get on and make a life. That's the best advice I can give.
Yes, anyone. I was actually told, if you don't get out there and live a normal life, then dementia's got you too. It's got two for the price of one. So live a normal life, and don't be afraid to talk about it. You know, we both grew up in medical households, and in those days cancer was the disease you never spoke about, the big C. Say it quietly. Now you talk about it quite openly. The same thing must happen with dementia, and it is happening slowly. Don't be afraid to talk about it. There's nothing, as it were, to apologize for getting dementia or for having someone in your family with dementia. So talk about it, put it out there, discuss it, and only by getting it generally accepted can things move, I think, in the right way, which, as Nula says, is more help and support for carers.
But the thing is, we've got to get rid of the fear and the stigma as well attached to dementia. It's still there. People still don't really want to know, because you can ask people every day, how are you? You know, you're doing all right. But after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, after 11 years, they stop asking, because dementia is never ending. We always talk about James and Bonnie because they were together in this care home. And
we often say there are 4 in this. We've lost them both, but there are 4 in this relationship. And that's actually quite comforting, isn't it?
And you don't ever lose that love. It's always there. In fact, it's heightened sometimes. You know, you'll hear a piece of music, or you'll see something and think, oh my God, James would love that, or what would James think of that? And and you think, he'll always be there. You know, you can't just close off that person because they were too important to me. Or too important to you.
And in our more romantic moments, we like to think they passed us on to each other.
Yeah, and if we're having a glass of wine, we'll always say to James and Bonnie, it's always there, and the tears are always there.